For the basket makers of Akwesasne, the infestation of the emerald ash borer, EAB, in the southern portion of the community has had detrimental effects. Mohawks in Akwesasne and throughout the northeast have depended on the black ash tree for materials. Angelo Johnson, assistant forestry technician at the St. Regis Mohawk tribe, discusses his connection with basket making and the black ash.
Been making baskets for probably about 5 years now. I've been pounding logs for about 10. I started pounding logs for my uncle. He's a well-known basket maker.
Johnson says when the EAB investigation first began, he hoped it wasn't as bad as it seemed.
I had high hopes that there wasn't going to be any emerald ash borer. So hopefully there's, not a lot, crossing my fingers. I'd think about this project as I'd be working on my baskets and, just that realization that the impact is coming whether we like it or not.
The St. Regis Mohawk tribe has been monitoring the spread of the EAB since 2003. The initial discovery of the beetle, which is native to Asia, was in 2002 and subsequently left a swath of destruction of ash trees. Les Benedict, Assistant Director of the Environmental Division of the St. Regis Mohawk tribe and a member of the Akwesasne Task Force on the Environment, spoke about the beginnings of this war with the emerald ash borer and the division's plan of attack.
We didn't get notification of a positive until 2017, and then 2017 we began the planning process, setting up this grid system and deciding where we wanted to establish the sentinel trees. Our first surveillance projects were based on a purple prism trap with a sticky substance on it that was suspended in trees across the reservation.
Johnson says there are a number of possible ways the beetle managed to get into the Akwesasne area.
Shipping containers and any pallets that are made in China, they use ash trees, and that's how it came over in shipping pallets. The Seaway 18-wheelers that come through here, that's where you typically see them, is by the river and along the roadways.
Before the EAB plan was established, Benedict says steps were taken to lessen the effects of the beetle in the area.
We also reduced the opportunity for larger populations of emerald ash borer, and that's simply done through specialized harvests. So basically what you do is you remove the trees that you feel are competing with the trees you would like to keep.
In 2017, a multiple-step plan was created by the Environment and Forestry Division to determine the extent of the EAB infestation.
The monitoring method that we stepped up was called the Sentinel Tree Project, where basically we establish a network of trees, take a section of bark off of the tree, and that would be more attractive to emerald ash borer in the area.
First came the girdling of the ash trees. Girdling a tree means removing a layer of the bark around the circumference.
I made sure not to cut too deep because you only want to get the bark and the phloem layer off. So that's where all the water flows through. If you go too deep, it causes too much damage and the tree doesn't last as long.
The health of this sentinel tree has been compromised, and thus it begins to send distress signals, which attracts the EAB. The bugs collect in the upper canopies of the trees to lay their eggs closest to the sun. The next step focuses on the removal and tagging of the trees. Here, Johnson brings down the last sentinel tree of the 200 being studied and cuts it into 3 3-foot bolts to be number-coded. The final step is the examination of the tree for larvae and determining how long the insect has been in the tree. Small dwellings, also known as galleries, are exposed after the team has stripped away the bark. Here you can see an emerald ash borer being removed from a tree sample. Benedict says there will be an ongoing investigation into the extent of the infestation, exploring possible remedies or reforestation of the black ash in the future.
Fort Collins, Colorado, where we have actually been involved with seed collection over a number of years, and we've actually had ash seeds stored.
Johnson, who is both personally and professionally attached to this project, says there is a possibility of having new stands of ash trees in the future.
It's not going to be the next generation, but maybe a few generations down the line, the emerald ash borer may not be such a significant problem, and we can have healthy stands of ash trees again.
Time could be of the essence, he says. Mohawk basket makers may have less time to use these materials than was originally perceived.
Now that I'm seeing the extent of the infestation, I think we got less than 10 years to really make a move and, pound these logs and save the splints for the future.
The monumental efforts of the Environment and Forestry divisions of the tribe are not without deep appreciation. Johnson says they've devised a plan B.
I was talking to some elders on the issue and asking them, has anything like this ever happened before where, there hasn't been any ash trees for the basket makers? And they said that a long time ago this happened. Something else came through and started killing a lot of the ash trees. And what they did was they just started going further north to find the trees that they needed. So if anything, I just got to go further north to get the logs.